Did you know that you only need 5 things to boost your performance in sports and become your team's most athletic guy or girl? Many people will fall into the trap of grinding and trying to do lots of things but end up going nowhere. If you don't want that to be your case and you want to improve your athleticism, then watch till the end. In the first place, we've got speed training. I'm talking about 10-meter flies, for instance. Sprinting is by far the most important skill a player can have, and no wonder why it should be a priority in your training. But since max speed is barely reached in a game and acceleration is the holy grail of team sports, many people jump to the conclusion that it should not be trained, but it can be further from truth. Acceleration will always be conditioned by how fast your top speed is, as this study by Ken Clark shows. So, even if your top speed was 19 miles per hour and you can access 90% of that after 15 meters, you lose every time against someone whose top speed was 23 miles per hour and they could access only 80% after 15 meters. Also, it's not only about how fast can you run, but about speed reserve. Let's say the average game speed is 18 miles per hour and your top speed is 19 miles per hour. In that case, you'll be working at almost 100% all game long, while if your top speed was 23 miles per hour, you'll be working at about 75%. That said, with higher top speed, you'll be less conditioned by fatigue. And lastly, exposure to max speed will also reduce the likelihood of injury more than any other drill you can do. Number 2 is acceleration, deceleration, and change of direction training. I'm talking about 10-meter reps, resistance sprints, 90-degree cuts, etc. This is one of the most important aspects of sports because action rarely happens in a straight line. Athletes have to accelerate, then suddenly change direction and accelerate again multiple times during a game. And this is why you have to prepare your body to be able to excel at it. The goal of acceleration training is to access a higher percentage of your max speed sooner so that you're able to get to that ball before your opponent, for instance. And the goal of deceleration and change of direction training is to improve your ability to stop on a dime, become more agile, and become a more dangerous player overall. Number 3 is jumps and throws training. Here are included med ball throws, broad jumps, bounce, and many more. Since you cannot sprint all day long and some qualities aren't addressed when sprinting, this is a great way to work on them. Let's say you're lacking ankle stiffness or elasticity, then doing pogo jumps will be a great tool. Then in sports like soccer for heading or basketball to get a rebound or go for a layup, vertical jump is an important thing, so this is a great chance to work on it. Also, there are sports like football, soccer, rugby, hockey, or basketball where throwing is an important thing as well. You may not throw a med ball when playing field hockey, but drag flicking is a pretty similar action. So, jumps and throws training can and should be included in your warm-up prior to your strength work or pair with it. And talking about strength training, we've got our number 4, resistance-based training. This stands for any kind of training that involves some form of resistance, and its goal is to improve max strength, power, rate of force development, etc. Usually it would involve barbells and dumbbells, but it also can be done with your body weight, resistance bands, and many other things. This is an important part of any athlete's training because we're gonna target qualities that we cannot target with the rest of our training and are important to our performance. For instance, to be able to jump higher, accelerate at a faster rate, throw further, you need some level of strength and power. It's not only about how fast can you move. Also, resistance-based training gives us a chance to work on core stability and small muscles that would otherwise be neglected and would end up causing trouble to us. Finally, this is a great way to reduce injury likelihood because we're raising our max strength ceiling, so despite being in a state of fatigue and thus having a force deficit, we'll still be able to produce high outputs that will keep us safe. So in my opinion, speed and strength are the building blocks of sports performance because everything is built upon them. Finally, number 5 is RSA training or repeated sprint ability training. Team sports don't only involve a single max effort and going home, like track and field for instance. They involve multiple maximal or submaximal efforts and some low intensity work in between to recover. For instance, in soccer, a player can perform between 150 and 250 high-intensity actions in a game. And I won't be amazed if this number goes up in the next few years with the increasing popularity of gegenpressing and many other methods of pressing that involve a high physical effort. This is why it's not only important to run fast, but to run fast all game long. Of course, running fast during the first 5 minutes of the game is good, but everyone has fresh legs at that time. Now, being able to run fast when everyone else is tired, even in the last 10 minutes of the game, is a game changer. And a great way to target this is doing 3 sets of 5 reps of 20-meter sprints. doing a rep every 30 seconds and resting 3 minutes between sets. And that was it. This is my recipe for success. I hope it was as useful for you as it was for me when I first started implementing this. Comment below any doubts you might have. I'll be reading and see you guys soon.